I went up Bullet, so it wasn't too bad because it was before they kind of.
Who was hosting?
Who hosted that night? It might have been Alicia.
I want to say you.
It could have been
really?
you.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it was you.
Oh, okay.
It was you. Yeah.
No wonder the night was terrible.
Oh, man.
Welcome back to Show Me Yours with Jackie and Jonny, everybody.
I'm Jackie Agnew.
And I'm Jonny DeVito, and I just won a standoff. I just won the first intro standoff for Show Me Yours history. And I want to thank my sponsors. I want to thank, first and foremost, God.
Yeah.
I think God is the one that God gets looked over in so many acceptance speeches.
Show some respect.
Right? Like, honestly, I think that's... But I mean, hey, let's leave the Lord out of this right now. What
Yeah.
Is like and subscribe.
You need to do, for the love of God,
oh my goodness,
is give us a like, give us a subscribe, follow us on Instagram, on YouTube, on TikTok.
Sure.
Leave a comment, rate us on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify. And share us on your Instagram story, on your Facebook, with your friends and loved ones. And
share us with the dead.
Share us with the dead. Yeah,
take us to a graveyard, and then maybe like if you put like some like a Show Me Yours T-shirt that we have coming. Coming one
down
day.
down the pipes.
Right, like if you just like dressed your mother's gravestone with a Show Me Yours T-shirt, then maybe the next person that comes through,
exactly,
you know what I mean, is going to live a little through death. How cool is that? I'm like a poet.
Yeah, this is guerrilla marketing.
Absolutely.
This is,
Put a Show Me Yours shirt on a gorilla. We should make shirts before we start telling people what to do with them.
Yeah. We'll get the shirts first, but now at least you can start thinking of ideas.
Totally.
Get those percolating.
Definitely. And if you want to see us perform live now every Tuesday in Kitsilano at King's Head Pub.
Every Tuesday. If you are based in Vancouver, we run a show out of King's Head Pub in Kitsilano at 8 p.m. It's a fun time. We'll put the link in the description for where you can buy tickets. They're just $10. And
it's a good time.
Yeah, come out and support and let us know you're fans of the pod.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
We'll take pictures and stuff. I don't know. We'll mess up the Instagram.
Yeah, we'll force you to take photos with us.
I will. I'm into that kind of thing. Yeah. I need to have alibis, Jackie. I need to know that, you know what I mean, I was here with with a fan of the cast at this date. I guess if I was doing a show there, then that would technically be the alibi, but we don't need to get into the minutia of my criminal defense.
Exactly. Yeah, that's just minutiae. That's hearsay.
Exactly.
But
what's not hearsay is the guest we have this week.
Oh.
Yeah, fantastic individual, fantastic episode, fantastic album.
Yeah, we had a great time. Possibly the last podcast of ours that you see in that space with a guest there. So enjoy. We couldn't have asked for a better guest for this sort of farewell.
Absolutely.
To the view.
Absolutely.
But better things are coming.
For sure.
So everyone, please welcome to Show Me Yours podcast, Regional Comic Jonny Paul. Yeah. Cheers to the new year and to making resolutions you actually keep. Have you added self-care to your routine?
I think it's time they should.
Yeah, well, our sponsors at Manscaped have the perfect tools to help keep you and your significant other clean and tidy this year. Manscaped tools for his jewels are so good, you'll want them for yourself. The Lawnmower 4.0 is all you'll need for his balls and your bikini line. Set your first New Year's resolution with good intentions and join the 4 million people worldwide who trust Manscaped. With our exclusive offer, go to manscaped.com and use the code SHOWMEYOURS for 20% off and free shipping. Now, everyone should try to improve themselves this year. I think it's been a tough couple years.
Oh, self-improvement just needs to be constant, but I think now more than ever.
Yeah, so focus on self-care, whether that be meditating, journaling, yoga, exercise.
You know what I'm going to do instead of that? Shave my balls.
Yeah, or cleaning your balls and or your lady parts.
I think that's important. I mean, I let's get serious. I like it clean. I like it. I like it clean and trimmed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't want to look like you do up here down there.
Exactly.
Let's get serious.
I'm ready for a new year, new me with the best below the waist grooming. And this year, take your routine to the next level with their Performance Package 4.0 and brand new Ultra Premium Body Wash. Okay, you're going to get the Lawnmower 4.0 in this package. And this electric trimmer is designed with skin-safe technology to reduce cuts. And it also comes equipped with a 4000K LED spotlight that will shine a light on your diamonds.
It's awesome.
It is. And their new Ultra Premium Body Wash is made with the best ingredients, okay, to make you not mind those times when you might have to use his body wash instead of yours. All right, it's cologne infused with aloe vera and sea salt to keep your skin feeling clean, nice, and moisturized. Upgrade both your and his grooming routine this year's and use the best tools for the job. Whether your resolution is to work out more or travel to new places, be sure to travel to manscaped.com for our exclusive offer for you flashers. You get 20% off and free shipping with the code SHOWMEYOURS. And cheers to self-care in 2022. And once again, that's the code SHOWMEYOURS on manscaped.com for 20% off and free shipping. New year, no pubes in 2022 with Manscaped. Thank you and Happy New Year. Welcome back to Show Me Yours podcast, everyone. We're joined by perhaps our last guest in this location.
Could be.
Regional Comic Jonny Paul.
We couldn't ask for a better guest. How you doing, man? Yeah, welcome to the couch.
It's been a long time coming.
Yeah, nice. Definitely. Yeah. We had a couple scheduling issues, couple miscommunications. What are you gonna do, right? Absolutely. But you're here now on possibly the nicest day. That we've had. Yeah, the sun finally came out and
it's gorgeous.
Now we're hanging out. Yeah, man.
I like the rope effect you guys have.
Oh yeah.
It is like Hitchcock's rope, right?
Yeah.
The whole the daylight is going.
Oh, it's perfect.
Hitchcock reference. 30 seconds in.
And with the album too. Jonny Paul. Who would have thought he was an artist?
Yeah.
Regional artist Jonny Paul.
Yeah, no, not if you see the act.
No, yeah, exactly. I never would have pegged you.
Of art.
Never would have pegged you. That'd be funny if you get home, you know what I mean, and then you put on all black, you know what I mean, and then you
that's like the turtleneck.
Totally. You probably what's his look? You probably do eye makeup, but just on one eye.
Just
you
on
know
one
what
eye.
I mean?
Something like that. And then I paint, but then after I'm done, I burn the paintings.
Totally.
Like a true artist.
Yeah, exactly. Your daughter wonders why you're crying all the time.
My studio's just smash sculptures on the ground.
I knew it.
Throw buckets of paint at a canvas.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
There's beauty in your sadness and then chaos.
And
then you come to.
Then I finish them all. I just stand over them and weep.
Yeah.
Snot and drool coming out just full.
It's a shame that they don't nobody lets you do that live anywhere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, you can do it live.
Oh, you definitely can.
I've dabbled in performance.
Love that. If the next show at House of Comedy, you just walk on with a big canvas.
Yeah, just dark trench coat.
I would be so excited because I'd grab Jackie by the thigh and I'd be like, he's doing it. He's gonna do it.
It's just 15 minutes, but it's like a slow build of and there's no words. It's just from into
it would be one of those things where it's people would laugh at first because they're confused, and then it would get very quiet, and then by minute 12 people will be laughing uncontrollably because they're so uncomfortable.
Yeah, totally. It's too much to handle.
Yeah.
I would love to see the behind the scenes stuff. There'd be soft music coming over the speakers, and Finn has no idea what's going on, and he's just running around who's doing this?
I'd bring a piano player, but they're swathed in material. You can't see Storm Shadow. and they just play one note the whole time.
I think if anything, what are we? Yeah, we're building some. We're 5 minutes in, and we've already.
We're writing your new act for you.
Totally.
I need it.
At least you know, and we don't have to tell you. That was actually what this show is basically just an intervention for comics. That,
you should quit.
Yeah, that we like.
Have you
know
thought about reviewing exactly? I've seen your act. And how do you feel about journalism?
Yeah, we have some ideas for you.
Definitely. It's just a good way to see where people are coming from, right? Like, do you really believe in this?
Yeah,
still.
I think you have to. Like, that's like 10 years in. I feel like, you know, and like that's what I like. Somebody approached me about quitting the other day, and I was like, you have to feed your soul. You know?
Man.
You only have time in this life, and like you got to feed your soul. And if this isn't feeding your soul, then why are you doing it?
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, we were talking like that's probably like that's some real art shit right there.
You
know what I mean, right? Like without like, but
yeah, I mean,
but like realistically too, like I'm finding, you know, stand up and all that stuff. I was like probably 28 or something by the time like actually like jumping into it, and then you're like, oh wait a minute, like now. You know, just like uncomfortable every night because like I could be doing something, and now you have like that thing to do, right?
For sure, yeah, like it's.
Yeah, the idea of quitting is crazy. I just got started, but like, you've been here for like 10 years.
Yeah.
So
like
you've seen every
so many.
up and down,
Totally.
Like,
I can imagine all the people that you've seen like come like
and
wide-eyed, so excited,
God,
and
just like like show up at like at the open mic like 5 hours before before it's even gonna start.
Right.
That's awesome.
I'm gonna be a comedian, and you're like, I will never see you again.
Well, but you also saw like the shift in generational comics. Like the first kid was like bright-eyed, like I'm gonna be Chris Rock, and then the next one is like I'm gonna be Dave Chappelle. You know what I mean?
Maybe. Yeah.
Is there anybody that stood out that you're like say that you maybe saw like the first night that you were like, oh, not a fucking chance in the world, that is now doing their thing? If you don't want to name names, or if
that's what I like. That's what I loved to see.
Yeah,
it's like somebody proved me wrong.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, totally.
Like somebody who like would show up, and I was like, what? Do you understand what a joke is?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, do you understand the basic fundamentals of a joke? Because
Totally.
what you're feeding doesn't feel like that at all, right? And so like when that person would finally get it, when it would like switch and they'd get it, and you'd see them start to like kill, you'd be like, holy shit, like fuck, you know?
Nice.
Like Robert Pang initially.
Oh, you're saying he knows how to write a joke now?
Like,
did he figure it out?
No, I mean, I don't think, but I think he's found his comedic voice a lot
for
more,
sure.
you know? And when he came out, there's always something like, and there's just like, there's some people where there's just something like when they get up, there's something funny about them and the nature. And I've talked about it before, and it's like when it feels like they're fighting with the words, like fighting to get the words out of their mouth.
Yeah.
You know, like Tracy Morgan, there's something so funny about the way that he you know, I've met the problems, Lemon. You know, like he's fighting to get the words out of his face.
I think
and
that's 'cause he was hit by a truck.
Huh?
Well, that was still his thing.
No, but I mean, like that.
Yeah.
That there's something so funny about that.
Totally.
Like, and Pang kind of has it. Like he's fighting with the words coming out of his mouth.
That's a really good way to describe
and there's
it,
something like that's so funny about that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, like you can tell he doesn't have a plan when he starts speaking.
I think he's got a direction in terms of what he wants to do.
He's got a way
what he wants to explore up there.
Well, we all see him at the table, and he's focused before going up there, right? But he has like a way of making it seem like in the moment,
exactly,
or maybe like whatever his plan is so.
Yeah, I guess like what
it's
I
so
mean
different
is
from the way that we would do it,
know,
so it seems like it's fucking off the wall.
Yeah, like he doesn't plan out like the exact words he's gonna say.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Maybe, I don't know. I feel like he's writing on stage.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like he's got a concept that he wants to explore, and he's like he knows what he wants to talk about. You know, like there was a day where like he did this bit about like shitting his pants. You know, like and it was I think it was like the same day that it happened. It was fucking so funny to like watch him just go and like. But I think he knows where he's going.
Right.
Well, watching
but seemingly
watching a Pang bit develop is it's next level, because like we'll be sitting at like a 12 Kings with 4 people there, And all of a sudden he's talking about like the difference of like how like cats and dogs taste or whatever, and you're like, what the fuck are you doing, man? And then I watched him do that on a book show last week, and it's fucking hilarious.
Like he had a bit where it was like
figure it out.
Like
you know, the other line where like, fuck did you figure that out?
The best thing about the taste is loyalty.
Yes, right.
Yeah,
he's the best too for when like shit happens in the crowd and he can just let it go off the rails and like doesn't have a problem with just like leaning into it.
Oh yeah, of course.
Can get so wild.
He's aware. He's in that environment.
Totally.
He's right in there.
Like I feel like that's like what I like. Cause when we first started a couple years ago, I definitely, because we came from like writing, so I would go up and pretty much have a script in my head. And now I think like I'm better at being looser on stage, but I still struggle with like really just like letting it like go.
It's tough because knowing where, like, even if the bits that I'm doing are like really like on like going from different topic, like really switching from like A to Z. There's still like a one word like I've still built in the way of how I'm gonna transition from that. And then as soon as I start kind of like having fun and getting looser, then I start to notice like, oh wait a minute, like I'm getting like further away from the shore. Like how do I get back? You know,
in terms of like getting back to what you were planning.
And making it kind of smooth, right? Rather than and like I also think that I'm too like aware of that moment, and I should do more of it, like letting myself kind of like do it a little bit looser, because I think looking back on it, like you're your worst critic, right? Like you want it to be tighter rather than like, wait a minute, like it might even be funnier if you kind of, you know, kind of let it go a little bit. Yeah, and there's some people in town that like have the ability to do that. When you watch, you're like, oh god damn, like how do you? Because I don't look at it like wasting my time. But part of it kind of does feel like that. Like in my head when I'm up there, it's like you know, like these jokes are pretty well written out, and if I have like, you know what I mean, like this like set amount of time, whether it is like I know how to tuck, you know, whatever bits into, you know what I mean, that time and how to get there, right? And fill that time and walk off and kind of know what's going on, right? So like anything extra, or the idea of pulling out something that I know works, just because like just be like, oh, I'm gonna fuck around for a minute here. I'm still like, no.
I think when you have a plan, it's easier to deviate. Like, you know, like because you know, especially with like, you know, like the in and the out points, like always, you know, you should always know what your final exit is, right? Like, but inside of that, like you got to be in the moment sometimes, right?
Exactly.
Because if you're not, and it shouldn't feel like a script.
Totally.
It should feel like a conversation.
And that's
said
like
this time and again, it's a conversation. It's not a monologue.
Yes.
Even though it's like, you know, like it's a one-sided conversation, it's like it's still a fucking conversation.
You know? So like, and I think like with like the heavy writing and stuff is I like what I'm like learning to do is write in moments for that, like almost like write in these like crowd connection moments or whatever, right? So like regardless of how the crowd is, like the bit is still like, so like it gives me like an opportunity to like acknowledge that I'm in a different room and I'm not just like reading the script, because I've had like Ron Vaudry pulled me aside like one time like a year, like maybe like 6 months in or something like that, and he was like, you know, like you're funny, but you like, I've seen you at like this show and that show, and you're like obviously working on the same, you know, bit or whatever on all these three things, and you're fucking reading it off the script now. Like it worked last night and you're confident in it, and now you're just like fucking saying it. You know what I mean? Rather than having fun with it, right?
That's it. I
like
mean,
changing it up.
It's always got to feel like you just thought of it.
And that's what like audiences respond to the most. 100%. They want a belief that you're thinking of it off the top of your head.
It's for you. I just thought of this. You know?
Exactly.
Right? And that's why those like, that's why sometimes those like moments, the aside moments are so magical. Like the stuff that happens outside of it is like, you know, like that's where the like there's a real thrill in the art form. That's where it is, you know, like aside from just like being in control and steering the ship and this and that.
Totally.
But, like, when shit goes sideways and it's like you can recover, and it's like, and there's that real experience, you know what I'm saying? Like that fun time.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, I feel like, you know, like 12 Kings kind of has that, like where the comics who know each other will heckle each other kind of. Right? And then it's like, it's fun for the audience, and then it's part of a club, and then it creates that feeling, right? You know, like,
totally. It is like, I mean, it's silly because that environment is like, I think like a comedy open mic is one of the things that you know, like people aspiring to do it, are kind of afraid of, or even like people like in the scene might be choosy of which one they want to go to because we're, you know what I mean, what they think of it. But that room has like a really weird thing. I think like if everybody is there and like you accept the fact that you're there and you're having fun with it, then it can be some of the greatest times ever. Some nights are just like weird. I don't know if it's a fucking full moon.
Oh yeah.
But that's like
it would destroy like those. There was times
I
where
couldn't
it would,
imagine like how long did you run that room?
I ran it for 6 years, and when I did, like I would start whenever I wanted.
We know,
right? And it'd just be like, and part of it would be like waiting for people because there were regs. There was like enough regs that I could like after it sell out a show there for myself. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
build up enough people, and so like that's how you get a room like that rolling. Is like you just need people who are into coming to open mic comedy. You know? Yeah. And so
which is like a different person than I think like a regular comedy fan, right? Because like the person that
wants
to come and see like
or it's like a deep comedy fan who wants to see the work and the undertones of it.
Definitely. Which is crazy. Like the idea of you know what I mean. If I wasn't there working on something, there's no fucking way that I would be there. But like we had a table come up to us after Sunday or whatever that just had a great time.
Yeah,
that
those
couple there.
Right?
And they made the show so much
Waz
fun.
and Aaron.
Yeah. Just like that one table of two people like made the show.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Right. You know, I mean, and going from like that room to like 2 days later to like a, you know what I mean, like a small like packed out room. It's funny because like when like we're running that show now, going to like now it doesn't feel. Jackie, like you hit the nail on the head. We were driving up to the show and she's like, it's the first time that we're going to a show, like a booked show, that we don't have the anxiety of like, oh fuck, we got to do well or else we won't get booked. Like now it's like our thing, and we so now that we run the show or whatever, I think like we have like the opportunity to fuck around now.
Now you can relax into it.
Exactly.
Really. And that's
and can actually like fuck around, play around with new shit, even if we're not like super confident about it. It doesn't matter.
It's still your fucking room.
Exactly.
That's part of it, right?
Yeah, like I'm gonna be booked next week. Don't worry about it.
We'll be back.
For sure. Yeah. Oh man, yeah. Like I feel. Yeah, I mean, like I feel like I love to go. I love to just like fucking win in the shittiest places. Like when you have a good set and and it's like a war zone and you're like, you're like you watch. It's like you survived the battle and you watched all your like all your co-troops or like you know. Like
everybody's bloody on the battlefield.
They're all dead. Like you're walking just through fucking corpses and you're like, how did I survive this onslaught?
That's why that's why I love doing the American because like it's such a tough room. But when you do well there, you like walk off like a fucking champion.
Yeah, sometimes it's good.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's like a Christmas. There's a Christmas party, like an office Christmas party happening at the same time, and there's no way you're gonna get the necessary tension.
We saw one of the funniest things there a few weeks ago where the podcast viewers will remember Ravi Khanna. He's in the back with us, and we are looking around this room that this is an office party. This is 5 people that don't give a shit. This is 10 people over here that have no idea the comedy is about to start in 10 minutes. And Ravi starts to get this big smile on his face. He's like, this is going to be terrible. He's like, I love a shit room, man. I'm going to turn this thing around. And he got so excited.
Yeah.
And ate the biggest bag of shit.
Just like, but that's like
that's the love.
But that's also the sickness too,
right? It was so funny. Yeah.
It's like I can survive this haunted house.
And then he got out and he was scared, like he just saw a ghost. He's like, what the fuck happened?
Oh man.
He's like, what is it? Is this the house where there's always drive-bys? I can live there. I can live. Like that's the sickness that comics have. Like, it's
I
like,
can make that work.
When it's great, we're always like, oh yeah, okay, it's good. Like, and then that's when you start to question your ability. I think is like when it's a good room, you're like, oh man, I hope I fucking do all right. But then when it's a shit room and the abandon's there, you're like, I'm gonna fucking give these people a show of their life.
I'm gonna turn this shit around.
And then they're just fucking staring at you. Just like,
God.
I think it was fun because the few of us that I can't remember where he was at in the show, but I knew That's another thing about learning. I think you might have been there.
Because I think I was at House of Comedy.
I think we were
frozen.
Oh yeah.
It was like I just like because it's so big.
Yeah.
The heat hadn't figured itself out.
Yeah.
So it was like Dion Arnold was headlining and he went on stage in a coat and fucking toque. And I just we just kind of braved it, like me and Chris Gaskin.
Yeah.
But they were like a great 12, 14 people,
Nice.
beautiful.
Yep.
And then I walked into the American and it was like just full of gnarliness. And I was like, I am so satisfied. Like one of those points where it was like, I'm satisfied with what I just did for people that care.
Yep.
And I have no interest in fighting this fucking room.
Well, it was funny because learning the different rooms or whatever. And that one is kind of weird. I think I was talking to you about it. I can't remember. You asked me like how is it or whatever, and I was like, there's no attention there, so if you have anything like quick or whatever, like that's it. Like boom 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 boom, hit him and get the fuck out of there or whatever, right? Because I think I'm halfway through and notice like getting into a story and you can just start to see like just table chatter just like pick up as soon as you're three, you go 3 sentences without a punchline and shit like that and they're fucked, right?
Oh,
like you got that whole thing, and my God, like with the energy of and it'll tear you apart.
That show where Ravi was on it too, my mom and cousin came out to the show.
Oh, that's right.
Really?
So then, and I went up.
You gotta love when like they come to support in like the worst.
Podcast listeners will remember Akeem trying to bang Jackie's mom.
Oh
Jesus.
fucking Akeem.
So
really?
I tell him that my mom's here, and so he insists on being introduced to her. And so I introduced them.
Wait, trying to bang or ban?
No, bang. I mean, I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, he turned the charm on, and so I walk him over to her.
Does his charm have an off switch?
I don't think so.
It doesn't at all. I was on a show with him last night, and he has
a charming individual.
Oh, he has a new closer. He has a new get laid closer.
Oh, he has a new
a new get laid closer.
A new get laid closer. This one's good. No, the other one isn't about getting. The other one's soliciting a blowjob.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, he insists
now we can round it out with
on being introduced to my mom. So I walk him over to the table, and he goes, "Oh my days, this is your mom? No, this is your sister."
Oh my days. He starts with that.
Dude, he's been saying that on stage,
Did they check your ID on the way? You're not old enough to be in here.
Oh fuck! But it was so fun because I warned my mom and my cousin that it can be a rough venue.
Okay.
But they were in town for the night, so they wanted to come.
Okay, cool.
And then I went up Bullet, so it wasn't too bad because it was before they kind of.
Who was hosting?
Who hosted that night? It might have been Alicia.
I want to say you.
It could have been you.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah.
Oh, it was you.
Oh, okay.
It was you. Yeah.
No wonder the night was terrible.
Oh, man. Clip that.
So we're just talking about different nights.
Yeah. But it was, because I went Bullet, it wasn't too bad.
Which one? Was there an office party and then they moved closer?
I don't know if they moved closer, but there was an office party in the back. Yeah.
Okay.
But Chris Gaskin, Marito.
Yeah, Chris Gaskin.
And Marito. You went Bullet. No, and the Marito went second?
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
Yes, I think that was,
And he killed.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Marito did well.
It wasn't that bad.
It was okay. It kind of dipped off as
the Ravi night was a different.
The Ravi night was a different night. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah,
it kind of dipped
just
off as the show
went.
Dude, that room is
after 10 years.
Yeah. Oh shit! After that,
it's all one night. It's all one show.
It was funny. I was counting. I think doing stand up and kind of getting laid is one of those things that you're like, oh, I'm here. This is something that I do now. After you forget, you leave the number behind. I don't know how many shows.
No.
For you, you're up there, man.
And I don't think I ever counted.
No.
Yeah.
I think maybe up to 10.
Yeah. So what was for you when you were what was the city like when you started?
I started,
yeah.
What was very grim.
Give us a history lesson, Jonny.
Yuck Yucks wasn't open yet.
Okay.
The mix was around.
Right.
But it was tough to get into.
Yeah.
And then there was Goldie's. There was Kino, and Kino I got into because I went and when I started. So
was it still just an open mic?
I didn't have a cell phone, and I didn't have a cell phone. I didn't have any social media.
Yeah.
So I went true old school, where walk in and introduce yourself to somebody.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So that's how I got up at Kino, and Kino was Kino was like hit or miss always, even though it was like, you know, like it was still like longest running room at that point.
Totally.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it was, but you know, like could be great, could be fucking. And it was before Steve bought it.
Were they
Oh,
doing
really?
multiple
Okay.
nights?
It was before
still
Steve
like
bought
an
it,
open
so-
mic on a Monday and then like book shows.
No, it was
regular in the week, or
only
was it
the
just a mic?
Tuesday show.
Oh, okay.
It was just a Tuesday show with a 3-minute spot.
Oh wow.
So you got it with that, and then, yeah, like the old owners would just be talking at the back. The
Right.
regulars wouldn't shut up.
Yeah.
So it was a bit difficult, and that was the first place I actually brought people. So it was great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I didn't bring people until like I think like at least 5 sets in. I was like,
You had
I
something.
want to know without the
comfortable with,
support.
Yeah.
I want to know if I'm okay at this.
Oh,
like,
we did
Yeah.
the same
I
thing. It
need
was
to
just
know,
us
yeah,
for
yeah.
a while. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when I brought people, it was like, holy shit! Like that's when I really got scared.
Mm-hmm.
But
Fuck
then,
yeah.
but then like a couple days later, like I filled a room, like or like a couple weeks later, put a bunch of friends in a room,
Yeah.
and I was so scared, and I was like, and it just hit me. I was like, they came to laugh, they came to support you.
Exactly,
Just fucking
yeah.
do what you do.
Oh,
you know?
totally.
So that was like a nice thing. So it was like, okay, so there was Kino, and then there was the Sin Bin on Fridays and Sundays,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like a converted garage.
I was gonna
So,
say
like-
the sin
In
bin.
bin.
I like
And
that.
then it was on second.
That's what we
It was
call
like,
the bedroom.
it was a sports bar on second, and I challenged myself to write a joke every time I did the thing. And it was like, so it'd be like a Sunday mic at like 6 or 7.
Yeah.
Like there was nobody ever but comics
Oh,
at
for
that
sure.
mic,
Yeah,
right?
of course. Yeah.
And like, yeah, and the roof was a fucking sheet, and it was like a converted garage, so it was like freezing basically, right? It was a door that just opened to the rest of the parking garage, right? Yeah, but it was like tiny, and it was a back room, so it was good. And every time I went there, I'd challenge myself to write a joke about the sin bin, and like with the same setup.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'd be like, oh, welcome to the sin bin. Some of you guys came here to sin. I came here to bin. Where do you keep the empties? Like,
That's a good joke.
every week I would force myself to write a new fucking
That's
sin
so
bin
funny.
joke, you know,
I
like,
was gonna ask
like,
you
but
that,
with the
that's
same
awesome.
setup, with
Yeah,
the
yeah,
same.
yeah.
Some of you
Do you
came
remember
here
any
to
other
sin.
ones?
Like, oh fuck, man.
Because that's I mean, empties is solid. Empties is solid.
I
We're
think
not gonna put you
I
on the
remember
spot.
one was like, I came here to bin. D, anybody got a charm for my Ajna chakra?
Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
yeah, I can't fucking believe. Most of them involved like stealing the bottles, like
Yeah.
in some way.
Revolved around the empties.
Yeah.
You know, once you find the right premise, it's hard to pull up from that, right?
No,
Like,
yeah,
I mean,
but,
Yeah.
yeah.
Why
But it was just
rewrite
like
when
the
you got your
challenge
gold?
was always there.
Yeah.
And yeah, so there was a sim bin, and then they had a Friday show too, which was pretty good. It was Brendan Bork ran that show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, damn.
and he's getting back into it now, which is
Yeah,
dope.
yeah.
And then there was Goldie's,
Mm-hmm.
which was like mostly a disaster.
Well, that's where
Right.
we started. That was the first,
Yeah.
one of the
The
first comedy
basement
shows I
area.
saw.
And it
in
was-
the city there.
And it was double the size than it was, which was vacuous.
Right.
And that's where I did my first set.
Sorry, it was double the size?
Yeah, the
Yeah,
wall.
they, like,
There's you know how
changed it.
there's like a wall. They built that wall
Mhm.
midway through the back wall when you come down the stairs.
Yeah,
Mhm.
because
That wall there,
well, the
and there's a
bathrooms
door
were
and an
back there.
office on the other
Oh.
side of that.
Yeah, the wall.
It went the whole
on
way.
the
There was a
stage.
piano at the back.
Yeah.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I know exactly what you're saying. Yeah.
So it was like double the size, and half the people.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
And-
totally. Yeah,
oh, it was
yes,
brutal.
yeah.
So like my first set, I remember I went and I had like bumped into a friend who doesn't do it anymore, like
Yeah.
a friend's buddy from Scarborough, and I didn't
Right.
even know he was doing it out here.
Mhm.
And he was like, "Oh, sick!" And then so that kind of gave me the in to come back the next week.
Yep.
Mhm.
There was fucking nobody there, and like 2 comics before me.
Were they just doing like the amateur Thursdays
he-
kind of
It
stuff?
was straight open. It was like
Straight open mic,
classic
yeah.
open mic.
Yeah.
So he brought the mic midway into the room.
Right.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
dear.
so it's like you're like not even on the
To where the
stage
stage is
anymore.
now.
Yeah.
Oh no.
And like I got
was.
up and I think like I started with like a Hacksaw Jim Duggan impression. Like,
Yeah.
it was just
Yeah.
it was but it was like more the first set I knew I was always like this is just a check mark. This
Yeah,
is
exactly.
just
Yeah.
a check
exactly.
mark.
Oh,
yeah.
Like I did it at summer camp when I was fucking 16.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it was weird.
There's
like
been like a few things. I got to laugh
Yeah.
at a funeral one time, and I was like, "Oh, I know what I'm doing."
that's
right
it.
now.
You're like
yeah.
Yeah.
you get that
exactly.
big group laugh
Oh,
and
dude,
it was
and
like,
you're like,
fuck.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like me starting was like it was like I couldn't take laughs. Like the laughs were haunting. Like they were telling me like, and it would just like laughs from fucking doing nothing. Just random shit, random people getting like, be like, I'm getting fucking 5 laughs a day effortlessly.
Yeah,
but the feeling, the way it felt was like, something's wrong. It was like, you need to be fucking pursuing this and just like,
Yeah.
Totally.
you know, like you've always been funny. So I got into it. So then Goldie's was grim as fuck. And then this other cat ran another night, and they would do 18 minutes of like straight out of the gate of nothing. And then they would bring up the host. Right? So it was like, it was so grim.
No.
And the landscape was just like, misogyny
God.
and racism and just like just pure like like it was like
so the crowd
edgelords,
totally.
right?
Yeah.
The crowd sat through 35 minutes of that before they get to the show.
What are you talking about? Crowd,
people.
right?
Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
So
And that's fucking insane.
yeah, it was really grim, and then Yuck Yuck's open, and then more rooms started popping up, and it got good for a minute, and then things kind of faded, and then. You know, it feels like right now like all the rooms, all the indie producers. It feels like it's like, despite the fact that there's no clubs in Vancouver proper.
Yeah.
You know, feels pretty good. And the thing of the thing about like the post,
here, right? That was
that's it.
Yeah.
And like
turning point.
yeah, you know,
100%.
but also like the post-COVID audiences, the people that want to come out. There's like a hunger for shit to do in live entertainment, you know?
You know what I have
and a
found?
gratitude.
We've noticed that. And I mean, the crowds have been, especially since New Year's, we haven't had like maybe one like really weird crowd. You know what I mean? Everything has been like really good. Everybody wants to.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to have fun.
I have found though, like the new comics since COVID, like they don't, because there aren't really, other than 12 Kings, there aren't really any open mics.
Yeah.
And so they I find
Jackie
are
had
like
some
much
entitled
they don't like
motherfuckers
really
at the
know
show
like
last
what
night.
the deal is,
yeah.
and it's because they
That's
haven't had to sit at the keynote
They
for
don't know.
hours
Yeah,
waiting
they-
to go on, and
for
so they're
sure.
so
Exactly.
entitled.
They're so
And so they're
yeah.
like last night, hosting that show, and there was all these new comics, and they didn't understand why they kept getting bumped for
better
for
comics.
for pros and stuff.
Welcome
and they,
to the fucking name.
exactly. I
Of
was
the
like, well, this
Yeah,
is how it
exactly.
works, but
Right?
they
For
don't
people
know
that we
that
actually
because
like that.
they
Not only do we recognize their face, these people are albums, pros,
They
headliners.
know how to.
You
Yeah,
know,
they know how to be consistently funny.
yeah,
Totally,
exactly.
right.
And
You
like
know?
I've never seen
This
your
is your
face
third
before,
time
so
doing this.
I'm
You're gonna
sorry.
sit down,
Yeah,
buddy.
like
You're
gonna have
bringing
to.
all your notes. That
Yeah.
you're gonna read.
Exactly. Yeah.
And you're
not
and
gonna
you
fill
th-
3
yeah,
minutes
yeah.
and get out of there.
Yeah, and you
Exactly.
think your fucking tribute to Jezelnik is gonna
Yeah,
like
and
win.
And then
And-
they don't understand because they the only like real open mic right now is 12 Kings, and so they don't like.
But isn't there one?
this.
Wasn't there one last night?
Well, I mean, like
Chi-Chi's?
technically,
Technically.
Technically, so
exactly.
Okay.
But
we'll
like they've
be
never
able
had to
see-
sit through a show like that before, and
Yeah.
so like there
Yeah.
were a lot of new comics who I'd never seen before who were quite indignant that
Yeah.
they had to
Oh,
like
fuck.
wait hours
Oh,
to
God,
go
yeah.
on,
Totally.
because
And
they
I
don't
mean,
know,
yeah.
you know, and
No.
so I think it's like it's to the disservice of new comics because they're gonna learn the hard way that like they
Well, they're gonna
don't get
learn.
to
They're
just
gonna
Yeah,
like,
and
fucking
we
learn.
weren't
There's
around.
a-
We weren't
there's
in
a-
those rooms for years, but
there's-
we were in them long enough to realize, like, oh wait a minute, like there's an order, there's a way to do things. And
For
stuff.
sure.
yeah.
We showed up to Kino one night and kind of like bullied our way to the front of the line and like put our names up like first on the sign up list when people had been there for far longer.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
before we knew what
Oh,
the
yeah.
deal
Oh,
was,
yeah.
it was
Yeah,
in
yeah.
our like first couple weeks, and so we're
And
like,
then did you get shit?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Oh yeah, yeah. And
And
so
you
then
learn.
after that,
And
we're
you
like,
learn.
oh, okay, that's how it works. And so
Yeah.
we're just gonna wait our turn.
Yeah,
Like we would never
100%.
think of fucking harassing the host, asking
The
why.
lack of graciousness is like
It's wild.
it's wild. It's like
Yeah, when you
it's
should
like, I
you
took
should
a
be
class
thankful.
and I killed at
Yeah.
my showcase, and I brought 2 tables of people, and I'm gonna, I
Yeah.
fucking deserve it, you
Yeah.
know. And then and you're like, it's kind of, I've seen it so much, the bubble burst,
Yeah.
Mhm.
you know,
Yeah, for sure.
like how many people I have seen not survive.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's oodles more than fucking than those who fucking survived, you know.
Totally.
Yeah,
And that's
yeah.
what I was saying to that guy the other day when I was talking about quitting was like,
Yeah.
it has to be for you,
Yeah.
100%. Like everything else, I think is like, I don't want to say delusion, but like it's got to be for you. It's got to be for
Exactly.
you.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
got to
absolutely.
100% be for you.
Yeah.
And
If you don't love
if
it,
it's
you
for
absolutely
fame,
should quit.
if you especially in Canada, if you're fucking chasing fame, just go on TikTok. Just be a TikToker.
Totally.
Like,
If you want to get
'cause
just
this-
eyes on your
this
thing,
thing-
this doesn't get.
yeah, this thing
Yeah.
is a different fucking world.
Totally.
You know?
Yeah.
And,
You know what? I mean, honestly, you know, that's actually interesting and like a weird segue into the record that you brought in, because if there's anybody that makes music for themselves, it's Tom fucking Waits.
Totally.
Absolutely.
You know what I
Totally,
mean,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like, and you
100%.
need that. Like, we were talking about. Well, we've actually had the conversation a bunch of times about artists that, like, when do you decide to give it up, right? Like, there's a lot of people that I think if you're the record industry's baby, and they'll keep putting you into the studio with producers, and you just keep churning out the same amount of bullshit. And,
Yeah.
there's a bunch of them, but I think there's somebody here that, like, especially with Tom, like, you have like you brought in 80s Tom Waits, which is by far and above the best Tom Waits, I think, from 78 to 88.
I mean, this album specifically.
This one, I mean,
Yeah.
with Swordfish Trombone, Rain Dogs, and this thing, like, all within like the same like span of records.
I still love Big in Japan. You
Oh,
know?
yeah.
Yeah. Like,
Big in Japan is the first Tom Waits song I ever
Real
heard as a punk rock
Variations.
kid. It's on a Epitaph Records compilation for whatever fucking reason.
Yeah.
That's like very young. And that's what they're like, Rancid and like Pennywise, No Effects and whatever, right? So like, what the hell is that song doing on that thing? But I mean, what's your
What's your history with Tom
what's
Waits?
up with Tom Waits, Johnny? Tell us something.
So I mean, like, musically, a lot of people introduced me. Like, a lot of my music came through friends.
Yes,
you know.
yeah.
And I remember the buddy who introduced me to Tom Waits, Paul McCready. Shout out.
Oh yeah. What up, Paul?
Yeah.
He's been
No
watching
way.
since
He's a
day
big
No way
fan.
he's listening.
since day one, man.
Yeah.
Paul's been around.
Shout
out, Paul.
Zippy Cartwright. Yeah. So he introduced, and I remember him talking about Waits, and like Waits talk, and this, I don't know if the story has any like truth and reality, but he said that Waits had met somebody with like a tracheotomy. And he was like, I want to sing like that. Right? Or like somebody that had like, like
There's so much
kind of
folklore
tracks.
about
Yeah.
like
Oh,
Tom
so
Waits.
much playing
like any-
bones, human bones, like,
like any like Letterman, or for that matter any interview, you know what I mean, and just like his like sense of like cool is so
dude, him and
ridiculous.
coffee and cigarettes.
Is the greatest.
Owning
Iggy Pop,
Iggy Pop.
like
Just gone, like, wow, like,
at the
without
end when
doing
he gets up
anything.
to the jukebox, he's like, his stuff isn't on here either. You know what I mean? But a great actor too, like Seven Psychopaths, and I mean,
Down by Law?
Down by
Down
Law,
by
dude,
Law,
Down by Law.
yeah.
I think
Have you seen
even
Buster Scruggs?
But the Ballad of Buster Scruggs, of course.
Yeah.
His
yeah,
thing
yeah,
as the
that-
coal miner just carries it. It's
Yeah.
just like him, but somehow it's fucking magnetic. And
I
it's
think like
magical.
he has
Mystery Men, the
oh,
fucking the
dude.
Doctor and Mystery Men. I don't know why everybody hates on that flick.
Mystery
man. I
Men
love
is
that
the
flick.
most underrated like
Superhero.
You know,
fucking
put your
awesome.
clothes on. Like,
Shoveler,
the
Hank Azaria throwing fucking forks. Are you kidding me? Like, it's
Sign me up
amazing.
all
It's
day.
Pee Wee Herman, you got Pee Wee Herman in there? Like, come on.
I think that it's one of the most underrated superhero movies too. Like,
It's
especially if
great.
you're gonna like talk about the
Greg Kinnear is fucking
the mass
flawless.
of superhero flicks that we've had, and they don't do like spoof movies like they did in the 2000s, like, you know, Scary Movie, Not Another Teen Movie, like all those that were coming.
Galaxy Quest.
Galaxy, like you need, you know, I think that Mystery Men should be in there.
They could bring it back.
Oh, of course.
Try
Oh,
again.
Try-
Give it another shot.
Ben Stiller's still hilarious, man, and I've said that.
Oh,
Like,
man.
oh yeah, we're in hard
Yeah.
defense of Ben Stiller every
Oh,
day.
What's
yeah.
the one? Do you guys remember the Ben Stiller show?
Oh yeah.
Fuck
Yeah.
Amish studs.
I never watched the Ben Stiller's.
Like being a kid and watching Amish studs.
They
Ben
only
Stiller
did
sketch show?
they
Stiller
only
sketch
did one
show?
season,
Bob
I
Odenkirk
believe.
was on it.
Yeah,
It
it
was
was
on
pretty
Fox.
short
Well,
lived.
Mr.
but
Show,
yeah.
all over Mr.
Yeah, this
Show,
was
but
pre
no.
Mr. Show,
Oh,
I
no
believe.
shit. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, Bob was on it. I'm trying to think.
Well, nice. Now I gotta.
Was
It
Janine
was-
Garofalo on it?
I think so.
Oh, no,
maybe
no,
I'm
fuck
getting it
that.
confused
Yeah,
now. But
tight
yeah.
little cast.
No,
Fox
no
Yeah.
90s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, God, he's so good. I don't know why
Yeah.
people shit on Ben Stiller. He's like
He's
so
great.
fucking funny.
great.
Right?
Unreal.
Tropic
Like,
Thunder's fire.
in terms of
fire.
comedic actors.
And
yeah.
comedic, somebody who makes who directs and makes films, you know.
Yeah.
But I mean, he was born into that, right?
Yeah,
his folks were.
Jerry Stiller is one of the greatest television characters, television actors of all time.
Rest in peace.
Like rest in peace, big time. Yeah,
so good.
There's a flick.
Unbelievable.
There's a flick that you guys got to check out. And
Hell yeah.
check it out. If you can fucking find it, I don't know where it is.
We'll figure it out.
It's called The Independent.
Okay.
And it's Jerry Stiller. He's a B-movie producer at the end of his career, basically living in a fucking motel.
I love it.
It's amazing. So you get all these clips of his shitty movies that he's made like all the time. He's like, I invented the sequel, right? he's like, I invented the sequel, and he's like, well, not the sequel, but using Roman numerals for it. and then it comes on the screen as World War III, 2. There's the humor is so fucking priceless.
That's like Mel Brooks, like old like slapstick, like those are the jokes that need to come back, like the Naked Gun. You know what I mean? Like those that joke belongs in that.
Walk This Way from Young Frankenstein.
Oh my god, yes,
jokes that you can show your kid.
Totally.
And
we recently rewatched Blazing Saddles.
Blazing Saddles is so funny, and it's just so awesome.
It's so funny, but
that shit's never holding up.
So crazy.
Sorry, till I get that was put in.
You can't. Watching it now, it's
everybody.
almost like more funny because you're like, holy shit.
Yeah.
And I mean it like the the sentiment is right, like you know what I mean. Obviously, you know, like they're pointing out like how outrageous, you know, like the racism is, but that first like 15 minutes of Blazing Saddles, you're
you can never tell anyone who isn't like a big comedy fan, you can never like recommend Blazing Saddles.
If you don't have that if you don't have those like 80s flicks like in your fucking in kind of like your upbringing and your foundation, like you're not gonna enjoy it. I don't think the young people will get it. They won't enjoy it. They won't get it. It's like
which is we were
really talking about Revenge of the Nerds, right?
Oh my god,
with my ex, but it's like it's fucking bad. Like there's some.
Dude, Porky's is just watching, you know what I mean? Like Porky's is just
it's so bad. I love Archie Bunker, man. I fucking love All in the Family. There's one episode where he's got to do a eulogy at his work buddy's funeral, and he gets a funeral, and it turns out the work buddy was Jewish. And it is just some of the most magical fucking make you cry and laugh comedy. Like he was just he was Carol O'Connor was a fucking monster. Yeah. But I feel an All in the Family today in America could totally I think it could work.
Yeah. You have to put the heart into it. And once the heart is there, then you
you gotta have the heart.
They do it. I think they do it with Hallmark movies or shitty comedies. You know what I mean? Where the dad kind of comes around. You know what I mean? That's a big story.
Yeah.
Or just almost like a trope. You know what I mean? Yeah. With or even in like gay films, like The Coming Out and stuff like that or whatever. There's always somebody that's gonna come to terms, or even with We Are the Titans, a whole town comes to terms with black people playing football. You know what I mean, right? So of that same thing. But you're right. If you have that, the house, or the family unit, or even the sitcom kind of setup, if it was done right. Because you still have it. It's the commentary, right? And that's what makes the comedy, so great. But because right now to have those characters, it has to be off the wall, South Park with Eric Cartman. Or that's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
That's why they own satire. That's why South Park owns fucking satire.
Exactly, right?
Because it's so the angle that they come at it from, they make it so ridiculous. That it's how can you not?
Exactly right. So they're some of the only people that will take those swings because they've established they're hey, we're fucking around, but they're one of the only people that that are doing satire still in the way that that I loved it, which is the way that I thought it was supposed to be done. That everybody's fucking tripping about now is wait a minute, isn't this supposed to be funny and make you think? Are we supposed
to attack the differences?
Aren't you supposed to laugh at the thing and then be oh, wait a minute, we all know. Hey, we're the good guys over here.
We're embracing the differences.
Exactly.
We're embracing the differences. That's
right?
What it is.
I think that Kids in the Hall first season is you could never do it now because there's, you know what I mean? I'm even afraid
but they're so insane.
They're so nuts.
it was like there was a level of like beautiful crazy that like I love that was so good about Kids in the Hall.
Yeah.
I don't know, one of my favorites, I don't know if you remember this, but it's like Scott Thompson. It's one of the mini movies that they make.
Yeah.
So it's Scott Thompson and he's like a hippie.
Yeah.
And he's got this sick denim vest.
Yeah.
And he runs out of weed and he's going everywhere to fucking try and find weed. And it was like, nobody fucking smokes weed anymore. Don't you want some coke, right?
Yeah.
So then he goes and he shows up at the Devil's, and right, he shows up and it's fucking
he makes it for the
McKinney,
jacket,
right? Yeah. He's like, I'll give you all the unlimited weed for the rest of your life. I only want one thing. And he's like, what? He's like, your denim vest.
Yeah.
Not the song. Totally. And it's just like, and then, but it's like the end is like Scott Thompson cutting fucking weed nugs off his dress.
That's right.
And just crying because he misses the jacket too much. Like that's the level of like Chicken Lady. You think about Chicken Lady, like there's just something about it, like in it where it's like definitely like Monty Python-esque, where it's just
like pure
absurd,
silliness,
pure absurdity.
I think like when you hear like 40 Helens agree, where like you know what I mean, like halfway, like they're just like
these are the Daves I know.
These are the Daves I know. These are the Daves I know. Like
and then I mean the movie is
it's
impossible.
But like to do stuff that's like that off the wall, but I think like just from like a sketch comedy perspective to like round it out, they have like the drunk guy coming home from the Leafs game, and it's you don't know if you think the guy's gay at first, but then it's if he's a vampire. So like the whole thing is like he's like, this is kind of weird.
Dance,
like, totally, man. It's so goddamn funny.
We recently like in one day like watched the entirety of Whitest Kids You Know, like all of their sketches.
Oh, have you seen that?
Oh my god,
really good.
Yeah.
Really
holy
good.
fuck, so fun. And it's like that's in that same vein. Like so, some of their sketches are just they make no sense.
Just pure absurdity,
and you have to be willing to like make those like tangential connections.
Like if you're gonna go on the ride, you'll have fun.
Yeah.
Yes. Coffin flops.
Dude. Have you seen?
I just think about coffin flops and it's so.
There's this like one. There's like there's a fucking there's a Netflix series like sketch series where they basically gave every creator one episode, and so Tim Robinson has like
the comedians.
Yeah. And so that's like the characters,
so
and that's like what got him I Think You Should Leave or whatever.
Oh, really?
And that like 30-minute episode. Holy
I think
fuck.
it's the best episode of I
We've
Think You
watched
Should
it
Leave.
so many
It's
times.
You mean the comedians?
The characters. The comedians.
No.
The characters.
The characters. Yeah. His like sketch episode.
Oh, his is I think the best.
There's one
sure.
one sketch, the guy in the gun store, and every new gun, he's like, well.
If it isn't the manager at the Denny's, they kick me out because I took a shit.
If it isn't the bus driver.
So good.
My buddy fucking did this little I don't know, he's a graphic artist or whatever, and he's just has like the gun pointed up and it says well with just like a paintbrush streak. Like I didn't do the paint job, and I'm like getting that tattoo.
Yeah. We're trying to make like a custom doormat, so that's like at our door. Well.
Oh, that's sick.
It's one of those things that like I don't know, like, but I think that it's funny actually that somehow like just the idea of like getting loose and then talking about like these sketches or whatever. I think it's something that like I want to do.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean, and just like feel free to have some fun and go for it. And we've been talking about like what like sketches that are coming up, and fucking I like Dinner Party Tom Waits. You know what I mean? Like just ruining like everything with just like ominous lyrics. And, you know what I mean? Jackie on a bass, like boom, boom, boom. You know what I mean? Just like I think
you got the human
so
bones. You get him playing human bones.
I'm gonna
sure.
absolutely.
That's fun.
Just
fun.
shit.
For sure.
Have you watched any of Shane Gillis's sketches? The
no,
Gillian
somebody
Keeves?
was telling me about him the other day.
They're so
some of the
fucking
funniest
funny.
sketches.
Yeah. Just search Gillian
Yeah.
Keeves on YouTube.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Holy fuck! Did you watch his special he put out?
No, I did not.
Oh
Yeah?
fuck! It's so good.
Sick.
The best one I would
It's
say.
all on
of
the
this
same
last
channel,
year.
and like you go spend like an hour and a half on that channel, and you'll be like all caught up, and it's I mean fucking some of the best stuff out right now. There's a sketch where his son's kidnapped, and the kidnapper calls him looking for the ransom, and he's just a dad that's like no. What are you talking about? And the kid just starts like being a pussy, and his dad's like, "You hear that? You hear that? You think I'm gonna pay to bring that back to the house? Not a fucking chance." You know what I mean? So they start like negotiating. He's like, "Okay, how about I pay you $200 and look him after, or like you pay me $200 and I'll look after him for the weekend." Like, all right.
But it was, I mean, that's kind of like Mr. Show, right?
Exactly.
Like, they had the one where he gets kidnapped and then the kid just shows up and he's like. He's like $500 or I'll cut off my toe.
Yeah.
Right? Like they had that level of like great absurdity. They had a couple like really hilarious fucking short movies as well.
Yeah.
The basketball recruiters, do you remember that one? Where like they're college basketball recruiters and they're like they're getting like kids who are under 5, like, and, like getting them to sign like, and they're like from the worst schools. Like one of them is called Indiana Basin Silt. And he's like, we play outside in the winter. It's brutal. And then they had the Make-A-Wish one. I don't know if you remember that one, but that one's fucking.
The Make-A-Wish one is like legendary.
Where they're trying to get, they're like, you want to meet Shaquille? You want to meet Shaquille? Come on, and they're like sneaking in the back door. It's so bad. And the Coca-Cola store.
There's this one of the Shane Gillis ones where it's like the last like white football team or whatever.
It's one of my favorite
It's like
sketches
basically
of
the
all time.
whole thing is just the same angle, and it's this white football coach like hosting like press conferences, and it starts him saying, "We're not gonna let black people on our football team," and the whole progression is him to eventually black people come on the team, and then they start doing really well.
Yeah.
And then he like starts.
It gets to the point where it's like, Jesus Christ, I can't believe how racist you guys were a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Like just
like
over the
these-
course
yeah.
of like one high school football season, he just like becomes not racist.
By the end, he's wearing like full on like
He's wearing a
African
disheveled
tribe
That's
guard.
amazing.
Yeah.
They give him a Martin Luther King like diversity award.
Oh my
Like
God,
apparently
yeah.
quarterbacks can run now, and the black guy's like, "Oh, scramble! Just hear that scrambling? You guys hang out with these guys. They say cool shit like that all the time." I'm telling you.
Oh, that's great.
It's so
that's funny.
Oh man,
Shane
no
Gillis
man,
is
but yeah,
funny.
we got to get there, and I think well, shit, we're like almost rounding out the hour now, so
Cool.
let's we'll do that. But yeah,
Final
next time we'll
thoughts
actually.
on Tom Waits.
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, he's
Next time we'll talk about the actual.
Yeah.
Next time we'll actually talk about
he's
it.
always been, you know, just a great artist, right? Like just his own thing. His never, you know, like didn't try to subscribe to anything. And I mean, the album itself is like all the tunes on it. It's
Totally.
just like it's such a good story, and I believe they did try to mount it as a play. Maybe they actually did.
Well, I think
Put
it
it up at,
was
like, La
originally
Jolla
written
Playhouse?
for
The
a
stage.
play.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so I think that maybe it had like a short run or something, and then obviously like subsequently released as a standalone album. But
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
nobody does like. He has a cool way to be like sad and funny, and like that's the hardest
And touching.
It's the
so
hardest
touching.
exactly right.
So touching.
Like,
Like
you can
the
feel
last
it.
3 tracks, Cold Cold Ground, Train
Yeah.
Song, and
Yes.
fucking Innocent When You Dream.
Yeah.
Just
Oh
fuck.
yeah.
Yeah, I
Forget
think
about it.
in,
It's so beautiful.
in terms of like Tom Waits records, I think this one is like pretty accessible. And I found like, cause I was telling Johnny this morning, like both my parents are huge Tom Waits fans.
nice.
So I like grew up listening to Tom Waits, but I always kind of struggle to get into it with certain songs of his. And so when I started listening to this record, by like the second half of it, like I was just like fully on board.
yeah.
Like it's kind of like at first I was like, oh, this is
Let me
Tom
Tom
Waits,
Waits, yeah.
and then
Starts
yeah,
with
yeah.
yes, but I mean, Hang On St. Christopher is like that's a bumping, groovy, like jazzy, fucking, you know, like
A lot of like the a lot,
and then it's like. And then like Innocent When You Dream is like German beer hall almost, right?
Totally.
Like
totally.
And the
you just like swing the mugs and this and that.
and the version of it at the end of the record is
Oh,
like
absolutely.
so beautiful.
Phenomenal.
Yeah,
I believe
yeah.
like one of the versions he sings through a megaphone.
a megaphone. I
Yeah.
think in the first one. I think yeah. But
But
like
the way
there's
I introduced my kid to Tom Waits
Oh.
is because she likes like Halloween and spooky stuff. Is
yes.
what's he building in there?
What?
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
building.
Yeah.
It's such a weird fucking.
Yeah.
He just talks the whole time.
Yeah.
He had a wife from some place called Mare's Income, Tennessee. Like, right? Like,
Yeah.
and it's so ridiculous. Like my kid loves it. Yeah,
Totally.
That's
Like once you
awesome.
get to like this like experimental Tom and like the where he's like willing to go, because I like the like closing time and all that early like 70s like kind of ballad like piano like jazzy stuff, which is like great, but like once the funk and like
Closing Time
experimental
is
like
always
starts
like
to come in.
That's like me losing my virginity. That's
Oh,
the
really?
album.
See, I'm
I'm
heart attack and Vine. Like,
Oh, that's yeah. Sick. So I mean, there's tunes off Closing Time where I'm like, these are monsters. Like,
oh, for sure.
like Martha, fucking.
For sure.
Oh,
But I think like a lot of my like with like Jackie said with like a lot of the albums kind of like spanning each album you really got to kind of get into and go on its own journey. So like what I've like done is taken like a Tom Waits playlist, almost like cherry picking the Tom that I like. You know what I mean? I kind of like the harder hitting, more like booming stuff rather than kind of like the more like dragged out kind of
ballady,
jazzy stuff. Yeah, for sure. So like then there's a lot of it too.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like over the course, and I think, but I still I haven't put out a record since like 2014 or something. But I'm sure.
Which one?
Tom Waits, I think. I don't think he's had one since 2014. What was off the top of my head? What was it?
He got back into like way more simple stuff.
Yeah.
Like that tune "Hold On" is like.
Oh yeah,
that's a.
Because like I have Blood Money, song. And that album is like he's taking some swings on that.
Oh,
There's weird shit going on that record.
But that's what you gotta love about him. Is
Totally.
like he threw shit at the fan. He never gave a fuck. Like it was like, what do I want to do? I'm not trying to do this for anybody but me. And I think like realizing that as an artist is it's so important. Like
totally.
It's like fuck the fame or the money or any of it. Like if you can just do it and do it for like yourself and for love and necessity, like you don't need to be doing it for anybody else.
Exactly.
Which is a fucked up thing to say about a performative art where you need the other you need the audience, because if you don't have the audience, then you're just fucking jerking off.
The audience can tell, I think, though, like they react more when you're doing it from like an authentic place like that versus when you're just like catering to what you think they want.
And even if that's like the attitude, then it transfers, right?
Oh, yeah,
like you know
sure.
what I mean? Then it definitely does shine through, right? I mean, sometimes like not giving a fuck and making it look cool is like there's a fine line, right? Sometimes you come off too cool. Sometimes you come off like you know what I mean?
Such a weird fucking cocktail, right?
It is.
Yeah.
It really is.
If you care too much and you're pushing too hard, they're like, I don't know.
It's
I don't
like
think I don't think I like you in that way, right? It's like when you and
but
then
if you
it's
don't
too
care
desperate.
enough, then you're a lost cause.
If you don't care enough and it's too slow, it's like why do I care what you're fucking saying if you don't care what you're saying? You know?
There's like
you
a fine
will
line
fucking
of
walk
cool.
onto stage
you need the detachment. You need
the
fucking
Tom Waits level of cool.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And also just fucking when like when it's pure, I think they also like attach to that as well,
100%.
right?
Definitely.
Totally.
You can see it. You can see it.
Yeah.
I mean, as many as we've been to in a few years. I mean, you like over 10 years. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean. You're at the point now where you can kind of
tell who's
yeah, see it off the jump. But
for sure,
let the people know where they can follow you. And
for
episode 2
they can find you
in the new room.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. Regional Comic Jonny Paul on Instagram. That's it. I just finished cutting my 45 minutes, so I'm going to be dropping some clips finally after 10 years. I'm finally going to be putting some clips out.
It's about time.
That's like that artist just fucking hating everything I do, right? Just being like and then somebody was like, "Are you going to put the whole thing in?" I was like, "No, I need to tune it. I need to make it better."
I was just going to ask, are you going to like record an album? Is that like
well, the intention is to like take stuff from that and polish it and add to it and refine it and then record an album.
Nice.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Nice. Cool.
But
nice.
tour it a bit. You know,
Like
tour the 45. Yeah.
Nice.
Let's hit the road, Johnny.
Fuck yeah, baby. That's it.
Yeah. I
Let's
got
go
a
to
car.
Kelowna.
Yeah.
Let's fucking do some things for sure.
Awesome.
From the island, we'll figure it out.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You're the best.
Awesome.
Thanks, buddy.
Well, thank you so much for coming
Thank you
on,
guys.
dude.
This
was
was a blast.
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.